lot of people know how to earn money, but don't know how to manage money. Rule of thumb, always go with investment and investment avenues that do not lock you up.
What's the difference between savings and investment?
You first save a larger chunk of your savings into an emergency fund, which should ideally be 6 times of your total living expenses.
What is rule of 72?
Rule of 72 is what should be your return for you to double your money.
So in India, we had something, this mutual fund. What's the difference between mutual funds and ETF?
Mutual funds are typically the ones that are managed by a fund manager, but ETFs are more passive. Because they just follow the index.
What are those 3 or 4 metrics that you check as a financial advisor that I should actually go and check before I actually even enter into a stock?
So how I started was really doing ground checks. I would go to a supermarket, I would check the manufacturing date. And if the date was anywhere more than 2 weeks, I know that the product is not moving, which means they're not selling as much. And I would see gradually the company has reduced its shelf space or reduce its ad spend. Then you will start noticing these things, and suddenly they will introduce a new product. So there are 2 things to gauge from this. Either they were fading off the old product, they didn't want, and they have a better product today, or they have faded out completely.
What's the best investment habit?
Show up, invest at a disciplined way, any given time in your life.
One asset everyone should own.
Real estate.
Currently, what happened to gold and silver?
Gold is a 5 to 7% allocation to any portfolio because it's an inflation hedge. If dollar weakens because interest rates on US dollar are going down, gold will strengthen relative to US dollar.
Do you have any budgeting tool where I can actually control my budgets every month?
You will need a manual budgeting thing. What I can do is I will share
Why do most people work for 30 or 40 years and still don't feel financially free? Today, we are going to talk about something that affects every single one of us. But yet, a very few of us really understand it. Money, investing, and financial freedom. We live in a world where people are working harder than ever before. Salaries are increasing, economies are growing, opportunities are expanding, and yet so many people still feel financially stuck. Not because they don't know how to earn, but because they fail to manage, grow, and protect their earnings. Financial freedom is not just about becoming rich. It's about having peace of mind. It's about knowing that your future is secured and that your family is protected and that your money is working for you and not the other way around. And that's exactly what today's conversation is all about. Financial freedom. Today, we have with us Sandeep Jadwani, a financial advisor with over 15 years of experience who have helped thousands of ordinary people with ordinary income to become millionaires at the end of their career. In this conversation, we are going to talk about investing habit, the psychology of money, how to build discipline, how to plan for retirement, and how anyone, regardless of their life, can start taking control of their financial future. Think of this episode as a financial health checkup for your life, a chance to pause, reflect, and rethink the way you earn, spend, save, and reinvest. This conversation is for you if you're really hunting for financial freedom. Hey Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Peter, for having me. I'm super excited to come here. The vibe itself of the studio and plan my firm offices just took me off. So it's fantastic that it's a pleasure for me.
So it's the first time that you came here?
Yes, indeed. First time, but I heard about it.
Okay.
I thought it was just one of the norms, but you giving me a tour of the entire thing, it really sets you apart.
Thank you, Sandeep, so much. Sandeep, today, actually, the entire reason I've invited you on this podcast is, I think, including me, and not only my audience, but including me, look for some financial literacy. When you say financial literacy, means I'm limiting myself to investing habits.
Mm-hmm.
We work for 30 to 40 years, and in this entire span of years, we find that even if I take an average salary of 10,000 dirhams, we earn annually about 120,000. Mm-hmm. And for a 10-year span, if I'm earning 1.2 million, I don't know where the money goes. And I don't know whether there's a rabbit hole in my house and that it just walks away. So I said, let's understand from Sandeep that what is investing? And for that reason, let me come back to the context, Sandeep. How did your journey start? Because you've been a financial advisor for almost 15 years helping clients across this region in Dubai, helping ordinary people with ordinary income to reach their financial goal and become millionaires. So I want to understand what's the context behind your journey and where did this journey actually start for you? What's your background and where do you come from?
So journey started off in a very simple place called Mumbai. Okay, hustle and bustle everywhere. And coming from a business background family, a joint family, like we all usually are from India. And over there, every time you had to ask money from your parents, you would the start of the answer would be no, because then if I'm getting even 1 rupee, they have to give the entire thing to all the other children in the family. So it's not about they giving me 1 rupee, but every rupee out of the parents' pockets would mean 5x, because they have to give 4 other children in the joint family. So that got me to a point that no doubt there's enough money in the family, but not everyone can ask at their own will, but it will be given to you at the parents' will. And we are very young, maybe 10, 12, 15 years old. At 15 years old, I told my father that why don't I join your business as an intern? Okay. And
what business did he have?
We were main distributors of thermal paper. Okay. So paper business was still very, very good. And manufacturers of plastic, petroleum products in Mumbai. Of course, we are doing away with a lot of competition that's there in India and in Mumbai particularly. But I think the business acumen was already there. My father was established business owner, manufacturer. And I thought, why not? Because his focus at that moment in time was that you go study, understand finance so that you can add value to my business. The first step I take in the business, I tell him, Papa, why are you doing what you're doing with your money, which is only keeping in the bank, okay, and earning some fixed deposit rate? And he told me one very interesting thing. He said, I am taking a lot of risk in my business because if I give products to someone on credit, I don't know if they're going to pay me back. So that's enough risk, but I make profits. If I get it back, it's profit. But this money that I'm keeping in the bank is some sort of a safety net. And then because I was slightly more from an organized field, pursuing my colleging and graduation and MBA, I told him, why don't you give me some part of your money to manage? He said, no, I don't like stocks. I don't like the stock market. I'm happy with the fixed deposit or a life insurance.
So you did MBA in finance, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So you mastered the finance. You went in the Master of Finance.
But that was a byproduct. Because in graduation, I did my economic study and that economics was never put to use. So I said, what can be put to use in my own business or my father's business? And that was finance or financial optimization. So when I told my father that let's put your money to use, he said, I'm not risking my money. I'll be giving you a salary. That salary you invest in stock markets or wherever you want to do. 1 year after when you're getting your salary, you come to me and show me your performance. Only then I will give you my own money to manage. Okay. Touch wood, with the limited knowledge that I had, I realized that I can invest well for myself. But when after 1 year, I went to my dad and said, hey, you know what? I've made superb money. And he said, you've made superb money, but these are the names, the companies, few of them have withered away. Okay, because Indian stock market at that time, 2003 and 4 was not super good. Okay, that was a solid learning.
So did you have a mentor to teach you how to read stock market or like?
No, it was
learned out of some speculation.
It was not speculation. I did learn case studies in college and university, but never actual trading.
Okay. So you were a trader.
Yes.
Okay, you started as a trader.
As a trader, buying, and because we come from a business family, so everything is what price did I buy it and what price am I selling it, and realize that difference. That's a profit.
Okay, fine.
So did multiple trades like that, and we would compare it to.
So trying to time the market.
Not trying to time the market. So this one thing I realized very well. We're not trying to time the market. We are keeping a profit objective. Because my dad made 25-30% profit in his business, I just had to beat that.
Okay.
So objective was clear.
Okay.
And but when I came through, he said, Sandeep, you made this money without control because there are 10,000 other people selling against your buy. Okay. But over here in my business, I'm making 30% profit with full control. I call the shots. So this is not a good risk reward. That was my first learning. Risk reward. Okay. For same amount of risk, you need to make more reward, or for a higher reward, you need to take lower risk. Okay.
So managing the risk is something that you learn from your dad.
From my dad, the teachings, right? that this can't be right. And from there on, I told him, can I manage some part of money for you to optimize your fixed deposit? And he told me, okay, go ahead. And if you lose money, I will be cutting your salary off it. The next year, I lost money. Okay, on the fixed deposits that he had given me, smaller ones. And he said, okay, now I'm going to cut everything from your salary. I said, no, Papa, but my college is going to start. I can't work full time. He's like, okay, then for 2 years, you're assigned to me. And I won't be paying you any salary of half days. But that was the thing. And I told him, but in the next 2 months, you've recovered all your losses because the markets went up.
Correct.
So am I out of the contract? And he said, no, sorry, you're not out of the contract because you've realized the losses. So another learning came through. Okay. And this learning really taught me how I can do my job that I'm doing today very well, because I could understand what the mindsets are. I could understand what risk reward is. I could understand what time duration means. I could understand what an objective and goal is. And then linking that thing up to various other things of simple individuals like me who was earning at that time only 8,000 rupees in my dad's office. Okay.
You started with 8,000 rupees.
Not in dirhams. So today it's 300 dirhams maybe.
Yeah.
Per month. And we would travel by trains. We would travel by buses.
And where was your dad's office?
So we were staying in Bandra in Mumbai. And the office was, we used to call it then town, the old city.
Okay.
It's like Dera and GLT.
Okay.
So you're coming to Dera every day, business hub. Okay. It's very easy to reach here, but it's very crowded. So you have to take multiple routes to reach here. So, and that gave me a learning that how can I optimize these things? How can I save time? The only way I could do it, either bring my office closer to my house or bring my house closer to my office. Okay, so these were two things, saving time so that we can do multiple other things. And that got me to a point that it can't happen only on 8,000 rupee salary. I have to do multiple other things that can earn money for me. But as an individual, Peter, we only have 24 hours in a day.
Correct.
So what do you do?
I think we have only 8 hours a day.
Of course, the rest is traffic.
Yes. So 8 hours of sleeping, 8 hours are in commuting, other work, and 8 hours is work.
So in 8 hours, what all can you do? You can either hire people and run a business, but that's expensive. You can either become an investor in multiple businesses with same thing, but that's a risk because you don't know what's happening in the business. Or you invest in businesses that are already thriving, that are transparent, and that is what equity markets give us. Okay, you either create equity or buy equity. Okay, to create equity, you need a lot of equity and effort. Like you're starting your business, it's your sweat equity first, and then the money equity comes into play. Or you buy equity, you buy Apple, you buy Microsoft, companies that are listed, or any other part of the world. In UAE, you buy ADCB, you buy DO, you buy FAB, and ADNOC, IHC. Any of these names that I'm talking about is only for education purposes. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any of the stocks.
The entire podcast is done with a disclaimer that this is only for educational purposes and to clear certain fundamentals that of investments.
Correct. So I'm not affiliated to any of the names that I spoke, or if I am, I'll disclose it out. So if you're buying equity of companies, that's stock. And if the company is growing, the sector is growing, it's amazing.
Okay. I can actually recollect this thought from an angle that one of the author, I think David Beck, who actually written a book or an article where he says that, that his grandmother has taken him to McDonald's. And she, while feeding him, giving him the McDonald's burger, she told him that, see, there are 3 types of people here. One is someone like you who came to eat, who's a consumer. There's someone who has served you, who's an employee. And the third part is someone who owns this place. So while you're eating, you can still own this place and give business to your own owner. So you can take this money and start investing in McDonald's stocks and then become the owner. I mean, I will just recollect.
So based on this idea, I had coined a term which was also published in Khalij Times.
Okay.
It was called the Life Usage Index.
Life Usage Index. Okay. What does this mean?
It is a simple theory for people who do not understand anything about investing or how to invest or where to invest. If you are using a product, go and buy that company. Okay. Example, if you are banking in UAE with any of the banks, go buy their stock. If you are using telecommunications, you go buy that stock. Do at Islat, whatever applies. If you are shopping at Lulu or Spinneys or Talabat, go buy that stock. Okay.
But do you believe that at any point of time that whatever you're consuming, do you think those companies are financially sound of investable to invest? Because sometimes, you would go maybe to a bank and you would consume a bank, maybe because their procedure or their compliance was very easy. But not necessarily that their financial books are so healthy and that they give good dividends when compared with other financial institutions.
Absolutely.
So does it really make sense in an absolute manner?
It does, because there is definitely, if you're consuming a product of a brand, you know that how often are you consuming it, how often other people in your circle are consuming it. Like today, if I'm sitting here with you and I as a sample crowd 100%, both are using Apple phones, which definitely means Apple has some value.
Yeah, I do understand.
Okay, so if you'll see these things around you, you'll notice, then you can say, hey, you know what, out of my 10 friend circle, 8 are banking with bank A, I am banking with bank B, and another one is banking with bank C, but 80% or 70% of my friend circle are banking with bank A. So which means instead of buying your own bank, you would rather buy bank A, just as a thought.
I'm with you, Sandeep, but the question is not about that. We work very hard and in our careers. The question is not about whether I know to buy, where to buy. This is again a question that I really don't know. So that's again that we are looking for an answer. One is that we love work all our lives. And after working all our lives, we earn money. And this money is spent with a click of a button.
Correct.
I feel that the digital technology that's added to our life in terms of spending habits, we somewhere lost the guiltness of spending every day. And we lost an accountability of how much we really spend and whether that's reconciled with our earnings.
That's exactly
and therefore I believe that if investing comes as more as an expenditure habit, then I would spend that money on the first day. So I pay myself first as an investing, and then I keep the remaining balance to then consume my other services what I want. Do you think that makes sense?
It does. And to this, I'll tell you a point. If you're starting off within the labor force, let's say it's a new job for you, and you are having your own rented apartment and everything, you would have a 60-30-10 kind of a budgeting plan. 60 towards your house rent, allowances and other things, 30 towards your living expense, and 10 of your savings. But as you grow, your living expense and your house rent should go lower and lower in percentage terms of your earnings. And if that's not happening, then you need to create multiple sources of earning. So ideal is 50-30-20. We start off with that. 50 is your rental and living. 30 is your installments towards your car rent and everything. And 20 is split between savings and investments.
What's the difference between savings and investments? Because this is a very complex subject, because I save money but then I don't know what's investing.
Going back to your origin topic, that people come here, work for 10 years and go back with nothing.
Yeah.
They've saved money.
They've saved.
Okay, but they've not invested, which means their money is not compounding. Okay. And Atomic Habits, there's a book that I had read by Mr. Clear. Okay. That actually says that, a small incremental return, okay, really makes a huge difference in the long term. And I read one of...
1% good habit is equal to 365 days percent of habit by the year end. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And just imagine what it can do to your saving, that you're moving the saving from your investing. So over here, I don't mean that you don't save. You first save a larger chunk of your savings into an emergency fund, which should ideally be 6 times of your total living expenses per month. So 6 months of living expenses, which means your monthly installment towards your mortgages or car loans or anything, your rental if you're staying in rented apartment, your schooling for your children if you have children, your spending for your groceries and other things. So this 6 months is a good thing for an emergency fund that you can tap in anytime if you lose a job, if you lose if your company goes bust, if you lose out on a wrong decision, or if you've spent something that you later on regret. So you need to have this emergency fund that you can tap into anytime. That's a liquidity. Or maybe if there's something that has happened, a major health issue. Okay, if you don't have this emergency fund, you will be tapping into other sources of other assets that you have that may not be liquid, that may come with higher exit clauses or anything. So this is the reason you need to have that liquidity emergency fund.
Now, if you want to structure this entire conversation, if we say that, Sandeep, we work all our lives, okay, and during this time, we save nothing, or we don't have a habit of saving, at least about me or some of my friends which I know. We don't allocate. This unique framework which you taught me today is about 50, 30, 20, which you says that about 80% of your earning, whatever you earn. So if I earn about 10,000 dirhams, okay, you say that 20% should be compulsory removed for saving or investing, whatever the term you call it. Of course, saving is a very easy term, but investing would be a complex. That is, once we get deeper into the subject, we'll understand how saving is very different from investing. So this 20%, so 2,000 dirhams is something that I need to remove aside and manage my entire expense in 8,000. And if I do this maths, and I was just doing this maths while you were talking, that if I save this 2,000 dirhams for the next 10 years, and if I have a reasonable return, what would be the reasonable return? 10 to 15%?
I would ideally take a conservative return of 8% per year.
8% per year.
Yeah. 10% is also good with the way markets are growing and everything. Average, let's say, global markets, Global World Index has given a 12.5% return.
12.5%.
Yes. For the last 15, 18
even
years.
If we calculate this 2,000 kept at about 10%, an average for the next 10 years, we'll end up with a saving of 410,000 dirhams. Right. By just allocating 2,000 dirhams every month out of our regular income and managing the entire monthly expenses within the 80% of what we earn.
Correct. Now, this is only if you are a starter in the labor force.
And if I save this for next 20 years,
you're a millionaire.
Then you're technically you're saving 1.5 million.
Yes.
This is the magic of compounding, which you're just talking.
And to calculate what your it's a very simple rule. The rule of 72, we call it in finance.
Rule of 72. What is rule of 72?
Rule of 72 is what should be your return for you to double your money.
Okay.
Or in how many years will your money double? So if your return is, let's say, 10%, you divide that by 72.
Okay.
Okay, you'll get a number, and that's the rule of thumb for doubling your money.
Correct.
Okay, it's just a rule of thumb. It could be plus minus here and there, but I think it's phenomenal if you understand this. Okay, every time you would go and buy something which is expensive, like today, even any technology product today is easily 1,000 dirhams plus. Whether it's a wearable, whether it's a device or anything, everything ranges from 1,000 dirham to going up to a 6,000, 7,000. But that's the need of the hour. You can't work without your devices, electronic devices, mobile phone, iPads, or laptops, or your smartwatches, or anything of that sort. And then today, everything is so visually attractive that you need to have a better camera on your devices as well. Okay, and it's important that we understand where do we put a stop. Okay, and as you grow, so today you start your job with 10,000 dirhams of salary. 2 years down the line, you probably have 12,000, but that doesn't mean.
No, I've just kept it like, consider that next 10 years your salary remains same.
So which means,
and still you have 400,000 in your pocket.
In that case, you have to invest and save, which is mandatory, and the best way to do it is automate it.
Is automated. See,
so if you automate it, just like if you take a loan, what happens, Peter? The moment the salary comes in, the bank takes away the loan. Whether you have money or you don't have money, they will feed themselves first, which is very good, because they don't want you to fall into a debt trap. Right? In credit cards, when we link it saying that pay 100% automatically from my account, so that you don't end up paying high interest rates on your debt on credit cards.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is also a different point, a very important point, which is about debt management. Investment management is good, but debt management is better, because you can't pull out money from your credit card or take a personal loan and invest. Because if you've pulled out money from your credit card, you're typically paying around 18% minimum of interest. Minimum.
18%.
18%. That's the lowest. It could be higher, but this is the lowest that you'll pay. So which means what? That investing is giving you 12%, but closing your debt is saving you 18%. So it's a no-brainer. Don't go with the faff of take personal loan and invest, pull money out from your credit card and invest. No, because your investment vehicle is giving you 12% average, but your debt vehicle is taking away 18% for sure. So if you want to be a little bit smart, you look at what is the highest paying, highest debt you have. And if it's a debt to create an asset like a house, or it's a debt taken to manage your lifestyle, which is buying a new fancy car, EPPs on your mobile phones, travel destinations, and the likes. So if that's the case, then you reduce your debt that is for non-asset purchasing debt.
Okay. So I'm someone that looking for, okay, in the next 20, 25 years or 30 years, I'm looking for creating a retirement corpus for myself. So if I say I'm giving 30 years, 25 to 30 years for myself to get a retirement corpus, and I say, let me start an investing habit, then the first thing that you're saying is automate it first.
Automate it.
So it means what you're trying to say is that it's not a financial number, it's a mindset. So it means I have to first change my mindset that out of everything that I earn today, I need to remove some portion and park it in my investment fund before I start making any expenses. Correct?
So I'll give you an example on this. This strategy is like the bamboo shoot strategy. Bamboo shoot.
What's a bamboo shoot strategy?
Okay. When you seed for a bamboo shoot, you keep watering it for maybe 5 years. Okay. And you see nothing. You may give up. You say, nothing's happening, boss. Okay. Why am I even pouring all my water in it and energy and nurturing it? But the day bamboo comes out of the ground, it shoots. And the growth is exponential. Okay. Which means you're nurturing it. Eventually you have a shoot, which is the compounding effect once again, shown by life to us. It shoots up, and one fine day you'll notice, how did this bamboo shoot up so much?
So before it shoots up, it actually shoots downward first.
To create those roots, to create that strength. Okay. And it's phenomenal. And the second thing, it's about, fitness. I call it financial fitness and physical fitness.
Okay. What's financial fitness?
Financial fitness is when you automate this thing and you're consistently, whether market's up or down, whether your morale is up or down, you are saving this, investing and automating this 20%. Irrespective, you show up. Same thing if you've joined the gym. Taking the membership of the gym won't make you fit. Showing up every day will. Okay. You go there, but you can't go there and lift 100 kgs in one day. Otherwise, you'll break yourself down. So 100%. You can't come and say, hey, you know what? I have a friend who has invested in one stock and he has given me a tip that will double up tomorrow. You might be lucky once, but I can guarantee you'll never be lucky consistently.
I'll give you an anecdotal on this similar subject because you said about, it's a mindset and it's not about a number. I'll give you my personal example. My father used to work with the governments and he had a fixed income. So he had about 20,000 salary, and this salary, he knew that at the end of the month, he used to get this 20,000 salary. And my mother, who was running a domestic bar at home, she used to make almost maybe about 5,000 a month. And but she used to receive every day. But because she doesn't know what's coming tomorrow, she always used to have this habit of saving today. And those days, we are talking about like the 25, 30 years back, there used to be something called as recurring deposits. So the bank used to come and give these safe boxes at our home. And my mother used to put every day these deposits in this. And then once in a month, the banker will come, he will collect all the money and take it and put it in the deposits. And she used to, and that was the highest return on a rate of return at that time, the recurring. So what I want to say is that her mindset was that she did not have a recurring income, but she opened a recurring account. And my father, who had a recurring income, was trying to save after what is spent. And I always felt that my mother was more stronger, financially sound than my father. So when my sister got married, my dad, of course, he was trying everything to get her married. And then, but from all of a sudden, my mom contributed 50% of the marriage cost out of this small say what she used to do. And therefore, that's the time I really learned that how, for her, the financial saving was more about the mindset. And I just, it just related to the same subject.
I think we learn so much, right? Because the learnings come when times are tough, right? Tough time creates tough men. Tough men create easy times. Easy times create easy men.
Yeah.
And then the cycle
Weak
starts.
men. Yeah.
Weak men. Yeah. Okay. So, and then the cycle starts. When we say men, I'm referring to people.
Yeah.
I remember I learned the habit of investing in gold through my grandmother.
Okay.
And every time she would save up, again, a very domestic household in India, men go to work, earn the bread, women, the nurturers, saving, ensuring the house is in order for everything, whether it's food, nutrition, savings, future planning for marriages and everything else. So my grandmother, for her daughters, started saving in gold every time she would save some money from the monthly budgeting, household budgets that she used to get. She would save something and immediately on a monthly basis buy gold out of it. So at the time of the daughter's weddings, suddenly she had a lot of gold. And she didn't have to go in the market and buy. So I learned that from her.
Yeah, that's what the mothers old, they used to do all these things.
Okay. And
they used to even start saving at the nearest, goldsmith.
Yes. And they would fight, they would bargain. And, we as young children would say, Granny, don't bargain. It's okay. It's only, 10 dirham. Just give it, leave it. And then one fine day she told me that there's always room for negotiation. Okay. And there was this book I had read, I remember, Never Split the Change.
Never Split the Change.
Yeah.
And what does this book say?
So it's the power of negotiation.
Okay.
That if you know the value that you're adding, and if you know in terms of service provider, if you know the value that you're adding, you do not say, okay, you know what, you don't want to pay 100 and I don't want to accept 50. Let's agree at 75. No. Same way, when my grandmother used to buy gold, and I learned this from her, she knew the value of gold. She knew the making charges. She knew everything. She had the calculation and she knew the profit margins as well. So she went, a person with so much of gold, saying, you're going to get X business, but this is my price. And if you are not doing this, the market is open. Okay. But the goldsmith once on the other side said, Didi, they used to call her sister, that I will not do any mixing with your gold. But if you bargain, you will not know if I make the 22 carat with a 21.5 purity. Okay. So he knew his job. That's when that jeweler became a family jeweler.
Oh.
So now everyone trusts that, and there's this amazing bonding that we create, because this is one thing that is so difficult to build up. That's trust.
But today now, a lot of gold is now getting certified by hallmarks and all. I think so. At least the purity is not, somewhere compromised right now.
Correct.
And it's not limited to a particular jeweler. Or at least, there are a lot of chain of jewelers that actually stick to integrity and all. So I think, I do understand from where you're coming from. It was more about the habit of saving into gold, and it was an asset class.
Correct.
So Sandeep, what are the asset classes that you would recommend? Like when it comes to, in my primary example, because you have helped a lot of ordinary people with ordinary income. So I took my ordinary income as 10,000 and we said, let's allocate the 2,000 aside. And we said, let's automate this. So I've automated it as per, as you, like your student. And after automating it, I want to ask you, which is the asset class that you will recommend me?
Lovely. I think this is my favorite question.
Yeah.
And
so where do I take this 2,000 and put,
So I have helped more than 2,000 people in my career.
Excellent.
Okay. Right from people leaving their job and starting their businesses to very, very rich people, rich families who come and say, hey, you know what? We have done all that, but can we further optimize it? Okay. So let me graduate our ordinary person today who's earning 10,000. He's automated 2,000. This 2,000, we are in a fantastic place today because everything is fractional, unlike before.
Okay.
Okay, you can go and buy gold with 10 dirhams.
Excellent.
Okay, you can go and buy silver with 10 dirhams. You can buy any other equity of any company in the world fractional. Okay, so there are a lot of apps that are connected to your banking app that anytime you spend 10 dirham 85 fils, they will round it up to 11 and separate that 15 fils out.
Okay.
Okay, you will not feel the pinch.
Okay.
Okay, but that 15 cents is moved out, and more spends you start doing, they round it off to the closest number.
Okay.
And end of 1 week, they tell you, hey, you know what, this is the small fractional amount that you've calculated, which is 25 dirhams, let's say, out of all that small change. And that is being invested into global companies. So the asset allocation that I'll give is rule of thumb. Always go with investment and investment avenues that do not lock you up.
Okay.
Okay.
And what does that mean?
That means that don't go into an investment which says, oh, 10 years you cannot take the money out.
Okay.
No lockups.
Okay, no lockups.
Whatever the calculation says. Because that lockup may force you to follow a rigid path in a dynamic world. Okay. So today we look at investing at least 55% in global equities. Okay, that's the bare minimum one should go.
So what do you advise? So if I have this 2,000, where do I open my account?
See, I'll tell you to open an account in which your income comes in.
Bank account.
Bank accounts.
Which has a wealth advisory application as well.
Application on it as well. But today there are multiple regulated apps in UAE.
Okay.
I'm not associated with anyone, but if you go with a company like, say, what comes to the back of my mind
Capital.
is Sarva maybe.
Sarva.
Okay. So this is not a promotion or anything.
Yeah,
but it automates. It gives you a good, very basic model portfolio theory. You feed in your risk profiles. It comes in. But if you go to a bank, they will also do the same. YO Bank is very good for that app. Mashrik is very good.
Yeah.
ADCB is very good. So all banks are good. Okay. You then have to, because you have to automate it, you have to link it to your primary income account.
Okay.
So that automation is there.
Very good.
Okay.
And what will be the instructions that I need to give? Like, suppose if it's 2,000, what will be the asset class that I need to invest? What will I break it?
Yes. You will take at least 55% in global equities.
Okay.
Okay. When I say global equities, I mean US, Europe, Switzerland, Japan, and UK.
How do I do that?
Developed markets. So there are ETFs available today. You don't have to go and buy individual stocks or something. You buy regional ETFs.
Oh, you buy ETFs.
ETFs will give you access with your 100 dirhams. It gives you access to all the companies in that country.
Okay.
Whether you want the top 500, so you buy S&P 500. Those are the top 500 companies in the US.
So in India, we had something, this mutual fund. What's the difference between mutual funds and ETF?
Mutual funds are typically the ones that are managed by a fund manager.
Okay.
But ETFs are more passive. Because they just follow the index.
So they are traded on the exchange only?
They are traded on the exchange.
Okay.
Mutual funds, they do not follow the index, but they do follow an investment strategy.
Okay. So we normally invest in a company in there, into a mutual fund company, and then they further invest. But in ETF, we actually directly buy their traded funds on the exchange.
On the exchange.
Okay.
There's no fund manager. It is automated again, so that because it's automated, the cost of management is cheaper. Ultimately, it's the cost also. Okay, but you don't go with an ETF that is low in cost and also non-performing. You'd rather go to a fund manager who probably is charging you 1% or 2% on an annual basis, but still delivering amazing returns. Okay, because he's doing his job well, he's charging. Otherwise, you can close your eyes and say ETF, low cost. Performance is driven by the markets. You're not influencing the performance because there's no fund manager to it.
What are the popular good performing ETFs that actually in a global fund that you'll actually look for?
You would go with S&P 500 ETF.
Okay.
You will go with, because technology is pure play and center play today, you will go with a NASDAQ ETF.
Okay.
These are indices. You will go with a UK FTSE 100 ETF.
Okay.
You will go with the Japanese ETF. which includes all the companies in the Nikkei 225 index. So you're not picking and choosing anything.
Okay.
You're directly buying the entire index.
And you're splitting 55% of that.
55% on that. You can equally split it amongst these 5-10% each.
Correct.
Okay. And go slightly overweight to technology or US or Europe, depending on what you favor.
So almost we can say from 2,000 dirhams, so 55% has been, 1,100 has been removed for those.
Correct.
What happens to the balance 900?
So 900, you are staying in this part of the world. Okay. You'll invest at least 200 into UAE markets. Okay. The same names that I spoke about. Yeah. Because you're here, you'll go.
The local markets.
The local markets. You can buy the ETF as well. There are UAE ETFs available, which is a mix of Dubai and Abu Dhabi companies.
Okay.
Okay. So you buy that.
Okay.
Then comes in the balance of 700.
Okay.
This you will further split it into the biggest other markets of the world.
Okay.
Which is, let's say, China. You can't ignore China. Okay. You'll probably put $100 over there or 100 dirhams over there. Okay. That leaves us with another 600. Then if you're Indian, you will invest in India.
Correct.
Okay. You'll put another 100, 150 because you're more comfortable with India. Being an Indian, you'll invest more over there. If you're a British person, so the UK allocation increases. So that money goes towards that. And then we are left with, say, around 400.
Correct.
This 400, 200 and 250 or 250, you will keep it in your e-saver accounts.
Okay. What does that mean?
E-saver is any bank has a high yield savings account which pays you more interest than a fixed deposit.
Okay.
And it's liquid. So this is required so that anytime you want money, you don't break your investments or remove from investments. You first use this money to for
as a liquid cash account.
As a liquid cash account. And then comes in the balance of 100 or 150.
Okay.
This gets split into gold.
Okay.
Okay. And or commodities today. Gold, silver, copper, depending on how what you have a feeling about gold, silver, and copper. Personally, me, I have gold is a 5 to 7% allocation to any portfolio because it's an inflation hedge. If you see dollar is weakening today, and if dollar weakens because interest rates on US dollar are going down, gold will strengthen relative to US dollar, and hence the price of gold will keep going. Okay, the value of money inflation hedge because gold retains your purchasing power. Okay, so you will have that money allocated to gold and copper or precious metals
for commodities.
For commodities, ideally.
So ideally, you're saying that if we break the asset class, of course, you're saying let's do this 2,000 would be split
into
70% of this is going in equity, which is including global Nasdaq, S&P, Japanese stock, around 70%. Then we say around 20% is kept in your cash reserves.
Correct.
And 10% is then invested further in other assets like gold, silver, gold and silver.
Gold, silver, copper.
Gold, silver, and copper.
Yeah.
So this is the straight asset class split of that 2,000, which will be very easy.
But this is a very generic one.
Yeah, but even in gold, do we have ETFs in gold?
Yes, there are ETFs for all these things. So whatever I've said, because of fractionalization, you can buy ETFs. So you don't have... So easy. So it cannot get easier than this, right? You don't have to say, oh, I have to buy 1 gram of gold, which is 300 dirham today. I don't have 300 dirhams because my allocation is only 200 dirhams.
Yeah, and if you go to see, of course, you cannot add a real estate portfolio here because the amount is too small. But you could keep growing this corpus.
There are companies that can offer fractional ownership of real estate in UAE as well.
Oh,
with 500 dirhams minimum.
Okay.
So, if your saving and investment pot is bigger, then you can use that allocation to buy fractional real estate as well.
So I could use that 400, which is kept in my kitty as a cash. I could still use that for real estate investment.
You can, but it's always better to have a personal one-on-one discussion with a financial advisor who will provide you with the asset classes based on what your objectives are. Because it's very important. This brings me to a point, which is investing not for anything but for a goal. Goal-based investing. You could have multiple goals at the same time. You could have a 1-year goal, which would be going for a holiday. You could have a 3-year goal to buy a car after 3 years. You could have a 5-year goal to collect for a down payment for your house. And you could have a 15-20-year goal, which is savings for your retirement.
Yeah.
So
this one is mine is completely, I have removed it from my retirement corpus.
Yes. So the longer period for the goal, the higher allocation you can have for equities and stock markets. Okay.
So it's so clear, I mean, the one part which you have, like, I remember I met, I have this one financial advisor from Gujarat for India. He's a very smart guy when it comes to investing in real estate, in any investment categories. And he actually gave me a simple formula. He says, Peter, what you can do is, the best part for you is you invest 50% in equity, 30% in real estate, and 20% in gold. And gold and silver, 2 things only. And he says, this is the simplest you just follow for all your life. And I've done this for the last 10 years, and believe me, it's really given a very good return. Like
Phenomenal.
I've made like 18-19% on a year-to-year basis.
Yes.
I mean, and I've just used his formula as a template of my saving, and I don't really think out of that box.
Of course. It's proven, time-tested over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So just a very simple calculation. He just said, whatever you save, just make sure that your portfolio is 50% equity, whether you buy through mutual funds, you buy direct investments, you buy through ETF, whatever it is, you keep that in equity. 30% you put in real estate, and 20% you leave in gold and silver. Just don't think about anything else, because everything else you will require time to spend, or you require a financial advisor to keep guiding you. So if you have that, then fine. Then you can actually talk to him, and then he could do the distribution of allocation. But if you don't have time and if you're busy working, then maybe this could be an easy template that you could follow. Does it make sense?
It does. So there's a term we call it in our general term, which is called KISS. Keep it simple.
Okay.
Silly. Okay. So which ideally means that don't be silly. Keep everything simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And this is what money requires.
And that's what Warren Buffett says. Keep it boring.
Keep it boring.
Yeah.
Okay. We rather keep it very interesting, because what's the psychology of money? The more you hold it without doing anything, it sits there. If it's not working for you, it depletes. And we call it inflation. Because if it's just sitting there in your account, you have loads and loads of money collected over 10, 15 years, but your purchasing power has gone down. Example, 10 years ago, when you transferred Indian rupee to India, you were, for 1 dirham, probably you were getting 12 or 13 rupees.
Correct.
Today it is almost 25.
Yeah, it's doubled.
Okay. It's good for us. But if you are in India and you're keeping that money in your savings account,
in rupees,
and then you say, hey, let's go to Dubai for a visit and travel, it'll be so expensive for you.
Yeah, you're spending double almost.
You're spending double. So to ensure that you live your life well, your money should be working while you sleep. And this budgeting, investment allocation really teaches you that. That discipline, teaches you. And the motivation is financial freedom.
Yeah, that's what the entire idea is for me. In the entire financial freedom journey, what I'm trying to do is first creating a retirement corpus so that I don't have to do or beg, or after my working years are over, I don't have to go and ask someone or show my hands.
Correct.
Or request someone to help me. So how do I build that in the next 25-30 years of my life, working life? And even when we know that after the end of your career, health and medical is getting more expensive, how do we create this corpus as of today? So as an ordinary person, I have taken your advice. I've taken 10,000 my salary, saved 2,000. I have now automated it. And after automating it, now I allocated this as per your your experiences. There are few things that actually affect me when it comes to saving at times. And I want to understand what are the drivers that actually affect investments, especially when it comes to I have, suppose, 20, I put 10% in gold and silver. But you see currently what happened to gold and silver. Gold crashed by almost 25% and silver by 40%. What do you think about the future of gold and silver? Like, do you think that they're going to still remain in the same valuation what they used to remain, or they'll be valuable in the similar manner, or do you think there's doubt about this asset class?
So there's no doubt about the asset class in the norm today. Example, earlier there used to be barter, right? And the value of the currency was dependent on the purity of that gold. If it's a 24 karat gold currency of the same weight, the value was more. And then if you mix the alloys and bronze and everything, then, the value was lower.
Correct.
Okay. Then came in the currency.
Correct.
Okay. They said, okay, guys, gold, we can't eat gold, we can't transact, it's heavy to carry, blah, blah, blah. It's currency notes. And so these currency notes started pegging themselves to the gold first and then to the US dollar eventually. Okay. And every other country in the world, whoever was issuing the currency, they had to issue more currency. They had to first ensure that they have hoarded a lot of gold reserves. Only then they could issue more currency and everything. Now what is happening is that the value of gold is going up for 3 reasons. Very simple. It's a very interesting topic which I've spoken multiple times on. Gold starts gaining its value when there is uncertainty in the market. When there is a disruption in any other part of the world between two countries or whatever it is, which is almost global. It's not just cross-border, but cross-world. Third, interest rates and inflation. So interest rates, when they go down, currency loses its value because people say, hey, you know what? I don't want to hold currency because interest rate is down. So my savings return is lower. What do? I need to not put money in the current account and move it to something which is more high return. Okay. And hence, when people are selling or not holding rupee or not currency, and not, which means they're demanding less of that currency. Automatically, because of demand and supply economics, what I first studied, okay, demand and supply. When the demand is going down, automatically it loses its value. And hence, gold in relative terms starts moving up. If interest rate is going down, gold, people move out from currency and move to gold. Okay. Inflation is going up, which means interest rates are going up. So you are definitely getting more return on your savings account. So you say, hey, gold I don't want because gold is not a interest-bearing asset. It's just a growth asset. But if I want interest, I need to move out of gold. Now I'm getting 5% in my fixed deposit on the US dollar. Okay, what I'm talking today is US dollar because rupee could change, dirham could change. US dollar is a good connecting part over here. So on that term, then you realize that gold starts moving because the demand is going down, because people are moving from one asset class, which is gold, to an equally safe asset class, which is currency or current account or deposits. But if the weightages of other factors is higher, gold will remain higher.
So if there's a lot of disruption in the market, if there's a lot of chaos happening, then people will try to protect themselves or secure themselves through gold.
Because they don't know what's happening.
They don't know what's happening. But here the next question comes. Then is it digital gold safer than physical gold? Because that's the question. Because when you say psychologically, I want to save myself in a cocoon, then I need that physical gold with me. Because this digital ecosystem, I don't know where exactly this gold, whether they are really going to buy the gold or no, because just in digital form. So what is it the same thing?
It is, it's a
debatable subject.
It is debatable, yes. So what one can do is, if you've accumulated enough in your digital gold, you can cash that out and take physical gold, but please do not take jewelry.
Okay,
take gold bars, but gold bars come with their own inherent risk. You might lose it, someone might steal it, and you can't transport it here and there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are just confined over here, and if too many people come out and start selling gold, let's say there's chaos and everyone wants to liquidate their gold, we saw what happened. People came out and started selling all their silvers that they had, and the buyers, because these are physical marketplace, it's not digital, it's only localized. These guys said, sorry, I'm not giving you this rate, though the rate on the label is there, but I don't have money to buy because I've already purchased so much of silver before you that I don't want to buy any more silver.
So the way historically gold has grown, you think gold will continue to grow?
Till the time there's chaos in the market, till the time, see, from a macro perspective, now slightly more professional over here. Interest rates in the US are penciled to go down.
Okay.
But when, we don't know. Earlier they were, the market noise was it should cut in March or June, but since yesterday we are pricing in that it'll cut after July.
So if interest rate cuts down, it means cash flow will increase.
Gold will go up.
Gold will go up.
Okay. So if it does not, then gold stays where it will, probably corrects a little bit.
And what about silver? Do you think the demand for silver will keep increasing?
So silver is purely used for industrial purposes.
Okay.
The major demand. It is not kept with central banks as a collateral. Silver, people who may not want to buy gold will buy silver, but it's mostly industrial use. Though it's precious metal, but industrial use. So silver, to me, the price ran up too fast, too high. Okay, it could go up today around, I think, $80 is the price going on. It could probably go up to 100, 110, but not anytime soon in the next 2 to 3 months or 4 months.
Is there any alternative for silver in the industrial space?
Copper.
Okay.
You know what? It's not an alternative, but it is used together.
Because I'm just calculating if there was a risk over it. So because if there's
no
so much of
alternative
demand for in the industrial space, and there's so much of industrialization going on around the world, what are the specific industries that you think silver is required?
Everything where it's moving to electric vehicles.
So EVs
and anything that. So the demand is coming from here. The cars today that we use, the ICE, internal combustion engines, they will move to EVs. They will require huge racks of batteries and their conductors, right? That's where silver comes to use in your microchips.
So it means the demand will go up.
But this price that we see has already shown up that the demand is priced in. Now, if demand falls, silver will fall, or the anticipated demand.
But the industries that you're talking are all futuristic industries. So I think going forward from a 10 years point of view, silver looks to be a very attractive commodity. I mean, that's what I see.
But now the flip side of this, okay? If silver prices go so high, all these industries that are depending on silver, their cost to sell will go up as well. The cost of manufacturing will go up. Will the end user like you and I buy something where the raw material is so expensive? No. Hence, the world will start looking at alternatives for industrial use.
That's the point that I was trying to touch on. That is there any risk of an alternative?
There could be, because if there's a problem, you can't procure it. You can procure it not as cheap. Then you lose your competitive edge. So once you're losing your competitive edge, or a company loses sales, sees drop in sales, they say, why are the sales dropping? Is the product not good, or is the cost too high? More often than not, it's the cost too high. So they start working on things to reduce the cost. Okay, similar to telecommunication. Earlier, people were not using mobile phones because they said, hey, your incoming call is 5 dirham. I don't want to use it. Okay, data, I don't want to buy data packages because it's 100 dirhams or 200 dirhams for limited 1 GB. I would rather use Wi-Fi. But as technology improved, as data started becoming cheaper, telecommunication became cheaper, we saw a complete boom in every industry. Today, this podcast won't be aired on Dubai TV, let's say, for example, or BBC or any other channel, but you can go on your own social media channel and host it there.
Correct.
Okay, so for that you need telecommunication because it's so cheap. You can now reach out to larger audience. So that's the whole ecosystem that comes in, and that's how we understand businesses. That what disruption will reducing the cost would do to the entire consumption pattern.
Sandeep, I mean, almost every day, at least in the last month, we were listening to a lot of this US tariffs. And, it was more for me, like, I don't know, some sort of buzzword that was every day coming on the WhatsApp, that the US has increased the tariff, somewhere they have reduced the tariff, and Trump is doing this, Trump is doing that. How does this affect our investment strategies, or how does it affect my investment portfolio? Does it have a direct impact? Does it have an indirect impact? I mean, I would like to at least understand, because when I'm going to allocate this money, 20% of my earnings, to something that's going to be like, affecting, or I want to understand what are these drivers that will affect my investment.
Right. So I'll take it from a two-lens perspective. Number one is what will happen to my portfolio?
Hmm.
And number two, is it really worth paying attention to the headline noise? Okay. Let's start with, will it affect my portfolio? It will affect your portfolio, yes, depending on when you start your portfolio. If you've started your portfolio, then in the first month itself, let's say you started your portfolio April of last year, when tariffs were announced. Okay. You would have seen immediate drop of your portfolio of 20%. But in May, you would have again invested your 20% allocation as what we have decided. So now you have averaged out the price. Third month, again, you would have purchased, you would have averaged out further. This typically till December was a 17% increment, positive return. From Jan to December was 12%. From April to December was 17.5%, depending on which date and everything you would have done. Okay. So on the onset, the S&P 500, if you would have invested, you would have not lost money if you would have continued. Okay. And this is something that I want to reach out, that if you are putting in the right asset or the right economy or an appropriate index, you wouldn't have lost money in the long run.
And if you're giving a longer time framework of investment, then maybe those ups and down cycles will be then overcome somewhere by your investment discipline.
Yes. So discipline is important. What is the ideology for investing? Invest low, sell high. What most of the time I've experienced is when clients would come to me and say, no, I don't want this investment because I lost money. Why did you lost money? There were two reasons. Number one, they didn't know where they were investing. And they said, oh, someone told me, my uncle told me invest there. He made money. I also invested. And that company is no more. Because you invested the entire allocation of 55% into one company.
That's, I mean, of course, from now on, I think, I'm sure most of us will not do that mistake.
So in, let's say S&P 500, again, giving that example, there are 500 companies. These are time tested. Only after certain frameworks, only after certain checks, they enter the index. Otherwise, there are multiple other companies, but they don't enter the index. So these companies need to have shown growth, need to have shown audited financials, and need to have showed growth in their earnings for 6 months continuously.
So these are companies that are really giant companies.
You name it, whatever company you can think of. Okay.
The NVIDIAs, the Google.
NVIDIA, Google, Microsoft, Walmart, Amazon,
Tesla,
you name it, Ford,
Netflix,
GM Motors, anything you name those big companies, McDonald's, Starbucks. Okay, you just name it. Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Pfizer, Eli Lilly's, healthcare, you name it, right?
Like simple thing, like today, I was just checking on my mobile, on my Apple phone, and I was seeing the subscription that were going on. And I just said that, okay, even if I have to cut down some subscriptions out, I was able to, even like Netflix, I have so many other, my cousins are using Netflix and they've shared passwords. And if I've removed my subscription, which they charge like almost about $27 or something per month, and that's like 100 dirham. And even if I keep that 100, 200 dirham, in 10 years, I end up keeping 50,000 dirham to myself rather than just letting it go without even noticing it.
Correct.
These are small habits I'm able to now rethink, especially after this episode.
So it's all about two things, I'll tell you. Be frugal with your spending. Be frugal with your habits. Spend below your means and invest wisely. Means that if you're earning 10,000 after expenses, you know that you've budgeted yourself for X amount. Don't go lavish spending. Once in a while, it's okay. But that once in a while should not be every week or every month. That's once in a while is probably your anniversary, your family's special moment, but not every other day. Right? So,
how do I keep a control on this?
So this brings us to a point about not getting into the trap of lifestyle inflation.
Okay, what's that?
Lifestyle inflation would mean that every time you get an increment, you're saying, hey, I'm doing my 2,000 dirhams on a month-on-month basis. I have received my bonus, but I'm not increasing my contribution. Instead, I go and spend it out. What you would rather do is become debt-free first. If you have a loan, pay that loan off. It might be very difficult, but at least start paying a little bit. Rather than keeping your loan on for 5 years and paying every month, when you get a bonus, let's say you get 10,000 dirham bonus and your monthly installment of something going out is 500 dirhams. Pay down 2,000. Okay.
It's like saying that the 10,000 what you're earning and now your salary has become 20. Make sure that the investments goes to 4,000 now.
No. The investments go beyond that because your living should not increase.
Yeah, okay. Correct.
So your 50-60% of your first slot should reduce because your salary is increasing.
Correct. So all that should go in savings, or
Yes.
at least a substantial portion
should go there. So instead of a 40-30-20, 50-30-20 allocation, you should now be to a 40-30-30 allocation.
So 40% should go at least in savings. As an investment, and then then those investments should go in the asset class that we actually discussed.
Yes, and then you can really put your goals to test. They say, hey, you know what? I had decided with my savings in 1 year's time I'll go for a holiday, but hey, I don't have that much money. Do I take a loan and cover the balance up? No, you increase your investing portion for another 1 year. Increase, not remain 2,000. You reduce your expenses. You'll say, hey, I'm as it is. Living on the edge, I'm not spending extra. But if you are a smoker, you will say 1 box every day. Okay, if you're smoking, or 1 box in 2 days. I don't smoke. I don't want anyone to smoke. Okay, you are saving that 20 dirhams for the next 7 days and for 4 weeks. That itself is solid 500 dirhams right there.
These small changes, the atomic habits, which you're saying.
Habits, right? If you have a monthly subscription of Spotify, Google Music,
YouTube
iCloud, YouTube, Talabat, Careem, and Deliveroo, and Amazon, you're not using all of that. Cut it down. So you're saving that 20 dirhams per subscription per month. And if you've saved up on 3, that's 60 dirhams. So now you have saved up on cutting your smoking habits. Eventually you'll make it 0. But let's say you've halved it. So instead of 20 dirhams per day, now you're 10 dirhams per day of your expense. And that's 300 dirhams right there saved. You have saved on 3 subscriptions, 19 dirhams each. That's 60 dirhams. That's $100. And that is adding on to your investment side. Or anything else. You would rather enjoy that piece out rather than paying for nothing.
Just saying that 1 dirham saved is 1 dirham earned.
One more thing which is very important. People in UAE have 2 mobile phones, 2 numbers, or even 3. And all of them have data packages. Fantastic. It's good. But if you ever go to your data usage, you'll realize that you're not even using 5% of what you're paying for. So you'd rather cut that down.
So rather than spending that on a Do mobile, you invest in Do.
You invest in Do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
That's the best way, and I personally feel that.
Yeah.
The moment I'm cutting something out, I say that, hey, I'm cutting this out. Let's say Netflix subscription because I have Amazon Prime maybe.
Let me invest in Netflix.
That same amount. So my monthly outgoing is still the same. But now, instead of the journey of money, right? The journey of money is a lot of people know how to earn money, but don't know how to manage money.
Yeah, manage and protect it.
Okay. And
then
they run for the entire life. I'm making money. But end of the day, their bank account says 0. I know of people who have 120,000 dirhams per month salaries. But towards the end of the month, they are left with 10 or 15,000 dirhams in their account. And this is not going towards investing. You always ask, hey, I have no money.
Sandeep, do you have any budgeting tool where I can actually control my budgets every month, or I can actually start planning? Because I want to somewhere put this automatic habit to myself, and a very automatic habit which puts me into uh, uh, this discipline, automatic discipline, where I don't have to think about my investment. I just want to start this journey as something which is very compulsive.
So, by the way, you'll be surprised to know that most of the banking apps now come with budgeting tool inbuilt, and every time you use their facilities, they automatically budget it and columnize it. So, for example, if you're using Bank FAB, it has a budgeting app, but if you're using a FAB debit or a credit card or a funds transfer, it tracks and allocates into buckets. Where did you spend more? Did you spend more on restaurants? Did you spend more on coffee? Did you spend more on grocery? And then you know what's happening.
So are these tools there?
Inside, built in. But if you're using FAB account and then you spend with your ADCB card, then that won't reflect. And hence, you will need a manual budgeting thing. What I can do is I will share an Excel sheet, which is a very simple thing for you and your listeners, and they can download it from a link on your website or somewhere.
Okay, and this tool will help me to basically, it'll be more like a tracker of my expenses?
It'll be a mirror.
Okay.
It'll show you what needs to be reduced, what needs to be bumped up. If you have a goal of emergency fund, it'll tell you where you are lacking, how much more do you need, what needs to be. It's a simple Excel that typically throws out results based on what you enter. So it's not shared with anyone. It's your own mirror. Everyone who uses it should be absolutely true to that.
So Sandeep, let's start from where we came. The way we came was, just a recap of, I'm this ordinary person, and this ordinary person has this 10,000 dirham salary. We started saving 2,000 dirham every month as a compulsive habit, or maybe something that's automatically, Sandeep said, you have to every month allocate this without even you thinking. And then we started saying, let's do it as per this allocation of these asset class, so that the money goes in those asset categories without even I thinking about it, and I could continue on focusing on my work and improving my skills in my work so that I can earn more there. And I don't bother about this money that's going in at an investment. And I'm trying to build this retirement corpus for the next 25-30 years. Now, then we went down, we started discussing on the drivers of these investment assets. Then we started moving into the tariffs, and then we said, let's understand. So we understood what are the ways investments could be affected. Now I want to understand if someone wants to learn more about investing. Is there any specific book that I can go and refer, saying that I want to learn something about investing from a deeper scientific point of view? Before I even what does that book teach me? Because there are times where I don't want to rely on an ETF. Okay, maybe there's a portion which I put. Now I want to buy direct stocks. But how do I know that this stock is great stock? What are those 3 or 4 metrics that you check as a financial advisor that I should actually go and check before I actually even enter into a stock?
So, I'll tell you how I started and where I am today. So how I started was really doing ground checks. Because I used to have a lot of cookies, biscuits. I would go to a supermarket. I would check the manufacturing date of that particular product that I want to consume. And if the date was anywhere more than 2 weeks, I know that the product is not moving. Okay. Which means, and then I look at the company. I look at the company, this company is a very big company, but the product's on shelf. Which means they're not selling as much. And I would see gradually that the company has reduced its shelf space or reduced its ad spend and doing something, then you will start noticing these things. And suddenly they will introduce a new product. So there are 2 things to gauge from this. Either they were fading off the old product, they didn't want, and they have a better product today, or they have faded out completely. So you wait it out. This is a first ground reality. Second, if you were to look at a product that you were using or consuming since forever, let's say Since we're in technology, I'll say I was using Intel computers since forever. Okay, Intel Inside. Remember that thing?
Correct.
Today, if I'm seeing that in my office or people that I meet are not having Intel and they're having Apple. And it's not just a 80-20 split, it's a 50-50 split, which means Intel somewhere is losing ground and Apple is gaining grounds in that segment of computers. And
that's why it's $51.
Yes. So it has gone up
Apple
substantially, by the way.
Yeah.
It's only because government announced that they are taking up stakes in Intel, because by no means Intel is a small company. It's a fantastic company, a bellwether for all the chips that we need today. They've done a lot of capex, but they were waiting for the ROIs to come out. Okay, so they invested, and technology moved so fast that the investment that they made became obsolete or was not demanded as much or high revenue. It was more commoditized than specialized. Then the new CEO came in, they got funding from the government of United States of America, NVIDIA invested in them. So it was a turnaround story. Then I would look at, hey, I'm using a particular car. Okay. Is that car a global name? BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, Chevrolet, whatever that is. Okay. Am I still buying that? Or I'm buying Toyota more? Is my next switch from an American to a Japanese or American to a Chinese? Okay. Or anything in between. And that's how this is the first line of gauging. And then you go to a lot of...
So be more vigilant.
Be more vigilant. Okay. Like today...
Of how the trend is moving.
Be with the trend. Otherwise, you'll be holding bad stocks, bad companies, which will come back to the same point. Oh, I had invested in stocks, I never made money.
So this vigilance is going to give you a consumer insight of how the consumer is behaving in terms of buying.
Because everything is about consumption. A product, if it's not consumed, which means the company is not doing right. Example of, let's say, I don't want to name any examples, but if you buy a shoe brand and suddenly you realize that the shoe brand has the same design for the last 50 years, you'll move away from that shoe. You'll say there's no newness. You'll move to a different brand and suddenly you're not consuming the old one and the new one. You're consuming the new one and you're displaying it on Instagram, on everything, and other people are asking about, hey, where do you get this from? Those people are influenced by you and buying the same product, which means the sales eventually is having a ripple effect. And they start reading the headlines about that company. And now, with the onset of internet and apps, with a simple search or even a simple use on any LLM like a ChatGPT or a Claude, and if you put in a query, is company X a good company compared to its in relation to its competitors, it'll give you a full analysis. Was your analysis good? What you did by being vigilant? Okay, example, BYD today is the largest seller of
EV
cars in the world.
Correct.
Toyota still remains the largest seller of cars.
Correct.
Okay, but where did it come from? It's still beating Tesla at it. Just a very simple thing.
Very simple thing.
It's being consumed more. Why is it being consumed? Is it price? Is the price very good? Is the quality very good? Okay. Or are the loans available for this, or the insurance cheaper, and the likes? So these are things that we'll go. And then once you go on a simple research, you will get to know, is the company valuable or no, undervalued, overvalued, whatever it'll say. But the whole thing is, even after doing that study, you can never be right. Because after doing that study, if the company that you are planning to invest in has a negative news, the stock price will fall. Then what do you do? If the company was very, very good, okay, and the trends are showing positive, the next month you allocate more to it.
But what are the financial metrics that you look as a financial advisor when it comes to the books of accounts? Maybe one is, of course, the product, whether it's trendy, and if the product is trendy and we know that the consumers are buying it,
correct.
So you will always have a hang of what's really happening in the market.
This reflects the revenues, the top line of the company.
Okay.
If people are consuming, you go back, you see the trends. Last 5 years, has the growth, sales.
Is the sales growing?
Is the sales growing? Okay. If the sales is growing, we know that they will make money. Is the sale growing from one product or multiple products or products and services? Example, a latest example that I can share is between Walmart and Amazon.
Hmm.
Walmart is the company with, or was the company until last quarter with the highest sales in the world. Sales, revenues.
Okay.
Okay. But their margins were very small.
Hmm.
So they had to be valuable company to do so much sale, even if they were making lower margins, which means people are buying their products. They were volumes business. They are buying globally. Okay. Today, Walmart is a $1 trillion company. It's one of the top 10 companies in the US with market valuations of $1 trillion or more. But Amazon beat them.
Okay, and how?
So,
did they beat
because
them?
Amazon, despite selling the same products online as e-commerce, they also started their Amazon Web Services. They created a new revenue stream. They started Amazon Prime, ads. They started creating the Magenta softwares and started charging more for premium delivery. And so just like the common man who's only getting salary, imagine Walmart only selling through their stores. So people had to come in, buy and go. What did Amazon do? Amazon started off with selling books, then started off selling everything, whether it's a football, a book, a showpiece, a bed, a camera, a light, everything. Media channel. So they created a revenue stream.
Yeah, I was reading a report and it says that Amazon has 21 subsidiaries that are further, added to their revenue pool.
Correct.
And those are also global companies that actually are doing globally business everywhere across the world.
So with you earning only a salary, if you don't create with that salary, invest and create multiple revenue streams, either, again, going back to the first point, set up your own business or buy equity in some business, okay, or fund few business or buy equity in a running business, which is the stock market, the easiest way to buy equity. Create equity or buy equity.
Yeah, I think the best part for you, for me at least, I mean, for someone who's looking to do a retirement corpus, I think it's best is to buy shares of, or at least ETFs initially. And once I know some scientific processes of how do I evaluate stock from you, then I can go back and I can analyze certain fundamentals of some companies. Like what you said, be vigilant about the product. You should know that whether this product, are you consuming? Do you feel people are consuming? You think the growth in the consumption is going up? So be vigilant. I think it's an amazing insight. The second part is you said go and check their financial reports that are published every year.
Correct.
Go check whether their sales is growing up.
Correct.
And if their sales are growing up, check if their margins are getting
Healthy.
compromised.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you think I should check the profits also?
That is the most important thing, right?
Okay, correct.
Okay, so coming to that point, if the sales are good, the margins are healthy and growing, which means that last year your margins were 15%, this year your margins are 18%, very good. What did you do? Did you increase the sales or did you increase sales of high value products? Or did you reduce your cost by automation? Maybe you would have sold or closed down few shops but opened an online store. So that you can reach audience from anywhere. Okay. Or maybe if you're a cafe or something, you had 20 outlets and you shut 4 outlets because they were more cost than
They were not performing. Yeah.
They were not performing. So you did that and wow, that's amazing because you're cutting cost. Okay. Then you would look at the net profit. Now, net profit is something which is so amazing. It can be manipulated the way we want. But looking at the bottom line, we call it. What's the bottom line? Is it green and is it growing? And we call it earnings per share.
Earnings per share. EPS.
Okay. This should grow. If this is growing, you know that the company is growing. So your revenue is growing, which is your top line. Your finance function is good. Your operation function is good because you've shut down stores. Probably if you have any facilities from the bank or if you have to, you've got better credit lines so you don't have to pay so quickly. You can use that money for expansion purposes. You have support from your suppliers or your bank is coming to you and saying, hey, you know what, you're amazing. We're reducing the interest rate.
So the operations and overheads are within the control.
Within the control. That's the key function of your CFO and COO and the teams. The CEO will say, I don't like that branch. I want to close it. It's not working well. It is eating away and increasing the risk. Because if I have a branch open, outlet open, not making money, losing money, it is also susceptible to a lot of fraud, theft, breakage, anything else. So it's better I close. As it is, I'm not getting revenues from that store. Though our feasibility study said that we would, but it's not. So sorry, we are moving down and we'll look out for another outlet. And your CFO is fantastic. He goes to the bank and says, hey, Mr. Bank, I want you to reduce my facility fees and the interest rates. Otherwise, I'm moving to a different bank because I'm getting the same facilities. I'm so big. I've done well for you and I'm expanding. I want to optimize and increase my shareholder value. Lovely. The bank will also say, we are your partners. Don't take your business. Again, going to the art of negotiation. Never split the change.
So the borrowing rate has come down.
Borrowing rate has come down. Profit margins have increased. You've reduced your cost. Okay. You've reduced your expense.
And everything is reflecting in the NP, net profit.
Correct. And if this company then starts using this net profit to buy back their own shares, lovely sign, because they trust in their own business. So keep an eye on share buybacks. And there are some companies who will say, we don't want to do share buyback. We'll give this money as dividend to my shareholders. So shareholders make two ways money. They get their consistent dividend, which is growing, and the share price will go up eventually because of better sales, better optimizations. Let's say the company you're looking at is saying, hey, you know what? They're going to announce a new super big project. Or they received a big project from a big government entity. What do? They have to spend money to create that infrastructure.
Correct.
So their CFO will go back again to the bank and say, hey, I've received this amazing project. I want you to finance it. The bank says, yes, we'll finance it. Fantastic, Mr. Customer. But you have to give me 30% down payment as your collateral. We'll finance 70, which means cash is going out of your current account. The same cash that you could have used to give dividend to the stockholders, shareholders, or to buy back your own shares. But no, now you have to give it to the bank as collateral so that they can fund your future project.
Correct.
So for that moment in time, your share price will go down. The stock price will go down. Why? Because there's no cash. You're taking out the cash which you were supposed to give the consumers, the shareholders.
Correct.
The shareholders are ruthless. They say, if you are not giving me this dividend, I'm going to another stock that's giving me dividend.
Correct.
What happens? Demand and supply going back again. People start selling. They're not demanding your share anymore, but they're demanding someone else's. In a similar industry, maybe. Maybe these are two competitors. Okay.
So it means from a financial standpoint, what I look for is I look for the sales growth. I look for whether the margins are well healthy. I look for whether there's a good, healthy net profit. I see whether the company is buying back shares so that the earning per share for each shareholder is going up. And lastly, what I look for is what you said, the last part is whether they are giving dividends to the shareholders so that the shareholders' stickiness remains.
Correct. So
I think if these 5 signs are seen, then there is very high chances that this stock is fundamentally doing good from a financial standpoint.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there are some companies who never pay dividends.
Am I summarizing right?
Absolutely correct. There are some companies that don't pay dividends because they say, if I pay dividend to you, my stock price won't go up because I can't fund my growth. So we are not a dividend paying company. We are a growth company. So you come to me, if you invest in me, you will get growth in 10 years. Okay. And we call it price earnings to growth, PEG ratio. This is ideally used for technology companies because they don't have a product to sell or manufacture. Okay. It's a service and cloud-based and other things. You'll use it, but you won't feel it. Okay. So multiple ratios will come into play. The most important part is not when to buy. It is when to sell, when to book profits. Now we are getting into the habit of, I am buying this and my grandchildren will enjoy. No, I don't want to leave my grandchildren with some paper. Okay, I will say, if on the first onset, I see that the company is not giving good growth for the right reason. Oh, you did not do any capital expenditure. You did not get any new contracts. You closed your business branches and outlets. Still, your net profit didn't go up. Sorry, you're not a good company. You're not managing my money well. I move out of you. And where do you go? Because this is the biggest risk. What do you do after coming out? The reinvestment risk. You say, okay, I'm thinking. And for 2 years, you're thinking and your money is in the current account, not earned anything. So you only exit if you have something else in hand. Better.
No, I mean, it's lovely. And so now we actually know, I know at least how to read financial statements. And I think...
those are very basics. What we can do,
Yeah, but still, for me or the audience, of course, these clarity of fundamentals are very important, because many times we go blind.
Correct.
And we go based on news that is populated to us, and today news has become very target based. So it becomes very easy to become a victim of it. But if you know certain fundamentals, then it always helps you to take a wiser decision. Correct. Or at least a clearer decision of what you want to do. What's the most scientific way of learning if I want to know deeper into some investments? Is there any particular books that you would recommend?
I have learned this through academics.
Okay.
But nowadays, there are a lot of classes that come through. First, you need to understand by yourself, are you positioning yourself as a trader or an investor? Because both books are different, both mindsets are different, everything is different.
Okay.
Though the market is the same.
No, we will stick to investment because we are here, trying to create a long-term corpus, and we don't want to trade and speculate.
Correct.
So maybe people like us, or, our audience would not want to be a complete trader, but would like to take an advice as a financial advisor, that how do we invest while we are busy working with our jobs or with our businesses?
So 2 things will have to go simultaneously. First, you can't just have theoretical knowledge, and you can't just enter into the market without any theoretical knowledge. So you have to do both of this together. You sign up for an online course with a recognized educational platform. It won't be too expensive, but it's investing in yourself so that no one can fool you in the future. Okay. And you at the same time invest a part in the markets and start studying real example, not some hypothetical used past case scenario. No, whatever you learn, you apply it to your own investment. You will fail, you will make mistakes, but that's the cost of learning. At the same time, don't start doing everything on your own. Have an advisor with you side by side for the initial period.
I had actually on the airport picked up a book called Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. And of course, it's not easy to consume, especially it's very technical.
Yes.
But what I picked up from it, that, you should not invest in a business that you don't understand, I think. And that was the learning of that book. Like Absolutely. I said, he says that you should understand the background behind business, and you cannot just go and enter into a business that has complete all jargons everywhere.
So there's a company called NVIDIA, we all know.
Yeah.
Do we understand their business? We only know that they make chips.
Correct.
Okay. What are chips? Initially, I didn't know what chips were. Okay. Semiconductors. I didn't know what semiconductors were. Okay. I thought NVIDIA is just a better laptop for gaming. Okay. I didn't know that. But I started learning about it.
Correct.
Because I was curious. Suddenly, why my laptop has a shiny sticker of NVIDIA in it alongside Intel? Okay. And I said, no, it has to be something different. Oh, it's only for gamings, but I'm a 24-year-old boy. I'm not into gaming. Why should I bother? But when I heard my nephews and nieces talking about the game quality, okay, that how real it was getting, that's when I started paying attention what NVIDIA actually does. They design those chips. Then they have Intel who manufactures and packages them. Then we have another company who transports it. So from a chip of the size of a red brick, today the chip is a size of probably a cookie. That's how small they've gone. What does this mean? That before they needed huge space to store. Today the size is so small that they can't store. They can store more in the same storage space. They can transport it easily by putting it in their pocket. They don't need logistics company to transport it out.
I was doing this one of the podcast, and when the question on AI came, and now we were discussing that, okay, everyone hears about the AI. But do we really know what's AI? Or is it just we just spell out the abbreviation saying that artificial intelligence? And then I seen the economic forum, and the beautiful the NVIDIA CEO explained that it's a 5-story layer cake, and he explains that the first layer goes to the energy, the second layer goes to the chips and processors, the third layer is the cloud infrastructure, the fourth layer is the LLM modules, and the fifth layer is where all the economic products are built on over these LLMs. So it's the first time where an application like ChatGPT or Gemini is becoming the mother application for other applications. And actually that changed my perspective of AI, that where do we stand in that entire journey? And that's where I was connecting the NVIDIA.
It's perfect, So initially these companies didn't make money because they were building the infrastructure. They actually built the second layer before building the first layer, the energy. Because we thought energy is infinite, energy will get it, oil is there, solar is there. But the consumption of this, like today, I know for a fact that more than 2 billion people are consuming via LLMs.
Correct.
Okay. And it's only growing exponentially. It's only a matter of time that everyone will have this. They will not need you, me, or anyone else. They'll have their LLM who will tell them what to do.
Yeah. I think that's where it's growing.
So you can also, by the way, you spoke about learning. You can also feed in your LLM that I'm a new investor. Please prepare a 30-day financial literacy course for me. Okay. And tell me how do I know about companies? I'm a 10-year-old person, example. Okay. It can really come up with some good results. But to my point, you have to start and learn together. You start investing and learn at the same time. You can't learn and then say, now I know everything, because then you'll say, oh, but my ChatGPT told me to do that, and it'll never materialize in real world. This is for sure. Okay.
No, excellent. I mean, and now when we know the fundamentals, the next question what I want to understand from you, Sandeep, is about, I think, even after understanding the books and to understand more scientifically, you know that Dubai, a lot of billionaires and millionaires live here. And I'm sure that as a part of your work, you are even handling clients that are super wealthy. And when you're handling these super wealthy clients, what is the best benefit that you actually bring them in this country? Is it because of the tax-free, or is it because of the better ecosystem, or is it because it has better networks to actually bring wealth and then further, re-earn from there?
So I think at the core of it is security.
Okay.
When you come here, you're secured. You can walk out at 3 a.m. in the morning wearing a Rolex and nobody will touch you. Okay. You can be driving a Rolls Royce and nobody will follow you to your house or mug you up. Okay. Security. So this shows the value of money. If you have money, you have security as well. So these billionaires are coming here in pursuit of better lifestyles. They have top lifestyles, but they want more security. Taxation is one thing, but the access from here, UAE, to the rest of the world is phenomenal. Today, even a firm like Plan My Firm, a person can come here super wealthy.
Yeah.
One stop, they can get office, they can get the office ecosystem, they can get as big office that they want. Their automation is done by renewals and filing taxes, and they can get their trade licenses as well.
They can get a business ecosystem.
Full. Okay, that's the ease. You go to any other part of the world, you have to go to 10 windows for the same thing.
Yeah, they mostly about 6-7 vendors you'll have to go.
And over here, everything is via the app. You can, the moment you have your Emirates ID, for example, even that you can get it through one window also. But let's say you've procured that, you can get everything else over here, because for rich people, for millionaires, billionaires, time is money. You can't wait 6 months to start your business. You're losing time, you're losing money, you're losing opportunity.
But what about investing from Dubai, from investing via other countries? Because I think that's where another important factor
So,
is about, with the
I'm not
return
a-
on investments.
I'm not a tax consultant,
Correct.
and I'm not in tax advisory, but currency fungibility
Hmm.
is, or movement of capital is the biggest advantage in the UAE.
Wow.
The moment you come here, you have, as I said, you have access to everything in the world.
Hmm.
You can invest from here into a Swiss bank or via a Swiss bank into US or Australia.
Hmm.
From here, you can invest from your local bank
Hmm.
to any other part of the world. Okay, from here you can go to Hong Kong or Singapore. Okay, sitting here because these offices are here. There are international financial centers like ADGM and DIFC that are regulated by Financial Services Authority.
Hmm.
Okay, the Dubai Financial Services Authority in case of DIFC. So this is with the vision that you come here, build and stay.
Hmm.
And every few months you'll see a new update happening. Okay,
Hmm.
earlier it was long stay, invest here and get the golden visa. That creates stickiness.
Hmm.
That if you have the golden visa, you're not bound by 2-year or 3-year visa renewals,
Hmm.
because that also leaves a room for someone to go back.
Correct.
With a 10-year, even if you're not employed, you still have the visa to stay here. Okay, and you can hustle around and start your own business as well. So you don't need a sponsor, basically. This is what it means.
Hmm.
You are self-sponsored. You can buy your house. Earlier you couldn't. Your landlord could come and say, hey, sorry, you have to move out. And then people from every part of the world will start looking at cheaper rents here and there. Okay. Travel. But today you can buy houses.
Hmm.
Okay. You're buying the best houses. And when I compare buying at the same price a house in Mumbai versus Dubai, I feel Dubai is so much better, bigger, cleaner for the same price. And better lifestyle, better infrastructure, better everything.
So do you believe that, investing in real estate is also a great investment?
It is always a good investment when it's done right, when it's done within the allocations. Because remember, real estate is not bad. But at a point in time when you want to sell and liquidate, it's not easy to liquidate in one day.
No, I want to understand from a little more technical aspect that you gave me about investing in a company and you gave me some parameters. How do you know how to invest in a real estate? Whether it's the right time, whether it's the right price, because the premium on the apartments are going up. So it means houses are getting more expensive. Rental yield is coming down, and service charges are going up. So I just want to understand how do we actually factor in real estate investment from an investment standpoint?
So it's a very tough call today.
Okay.
Always remember, investments benefit those who take the plunge first. So if you would have invested, let's say 2021, you took a plunge in the middle of the storm. 2022 still was very good investments. With global disruptions happening, like people move to gold and buy gold, there are people who are rich, billionaires, they're moving here. Why? Because they want to stay in a safe, secured environment with all the money. Okay. So when they came here, they started consuming a lot of real estate.
Correct.
Demand went up.
Correct.
The supply wasn't there. And hence the projects were announced. So many every second week there's a new project being announced at the same price. There's no advantage because the market is maturing globally. If you will see capital, commercial capitals of the world, New York, London, Mumbai, or Dubai, it's not cheap. Okay, but Dubai still offers better than all these. Okay, UAE offers better than all these put together. The rental yield probably in Mumbai would be around 2%. In New York could be slightly higher, but there are no new developments happening unless it's being refurbished and rebuilt and reconstructed. London, there's no space, so it's expanding outside. But we're talking about core London. Dubai has matured, which is really good. It's a sign of maturity that now you have to expand. You can't be concentrating only in one area. So the planning is done in a way that every zone that's created has their own community.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Super.
I'll tell you, so I live in DSO, Dubai Silicon Oasis, and then I find that there's no community like mine. My friend who lives in Dubai South, or MR South. He says there's no community like that. And everyone has this feeling of his own community, and that you feel that, oh, there's no community like that.
So
We're
that's
so comfortable, and from anywhere you can drive in 20 minutes.
absolutely
22 to 25 minutes, you're actually in the city from wherever your home is.
no, it's
And
it's
yeah.
lovely. So this is what Dubai is learning.
Yeah, from the commuting standpoint, it's one of the best countries, I believe, and really, and the opportunity in terms of geographical expansion, what the country is going through. There are pockets of good investment opportunities where 100% you will make good return, especially for someone if you have a very good real estate broker who's able to get those insights.
So what I would suggest is a 6% yield is a solid yield, but if you are still making a 5 or 4.75, it's superb as well.
Yeah.
So you're already in the market.
Because the balance 7-8% comes from capital appreciation.
Capital appreciation.
Yeah. So technically you're still making 14, 12, 13%.
Correct. So that's what it is. And if you're buying in the right places, so one rule of thumb that I follow: don't buy the best and most expensive apartment in a not so good community, but you can buy the worst apartment in the best community. Okay, because the value of that a worst apartment or house in a community, in a very good community, will always appreciate. Okay, so that is one strategy that I use. And second, what I usually say is that if you're buying real estate, your real estate investments will only reap money if you have at least down payments for 3 apartments or 3 properties. With one, you will not make money. Because you'll always be comparing, oh, I put money in my property, but this property is giving only 5-7%, let's say 7% on a best case, but equity markets is giving me 15%. The second, when you move to the second property, now you have some leverage because you can draw down money from your existing equity or property and take a long-term mortgage. And you're trying to do a back-to-back with a long-term...
That funds the new property.
And then you buy the third one, which is your experimental property for holiday homes. So you have
other options of avenues of earning money.
Yes. So only when these 3 align at a basic level, you will feel real estate investment is good. But if you have only one, I'll tell you typically what will happen. You have one property, you'll either decide to stay in it or lease it out. If you're staying in it, very good. But if you've leased it out, you'll say, oh, you know what? I'm not getting my rentals on time. The guy's asking for 4 checks. Very good. You can be humane and do that. And then you say, oh, there's something broken. I have to go. There's maintenance I have to pay, and various other aspects to it. And the tenant has not kept the house good, so your refurbishment cost after someone moves out again adds on, and then you'll end up with, it's not so good because I've paid 6% initially as your cost, DLD cost and brokerage cost. And the balance, the 5% yield that I made, 2% I made in 2 years, I've paid towards maintenance and refurbishment and check bounce and other things. Example. But when you have 3 properties, you can then decide that I will use one for short term, one of the 2 for self-stay, and the other one for a long term. So you're laddering it up. Number one, now you don't have to think about rent increase. So you're from your 10,000 that you had in the beginning, which was going towards your rental.
Yeah.
Now you're not paying that rent.
Correct. You're paying it to yourself.
And
technically, it's the same way that, the 3 format where basically you start becoming the investor.
Yes.
Right? So rather than you saying that I got my salary, I'm paying first to my landlord, let me pay myself because I myself is a landlord.
Correct. Okay, you do that. The second property you're creating as your social security long-term annual lease, which is giving you slightly less, but it is ensuring that it's stability. And the third house is your experimental house. Okay, that experimental house, you'll probably do it with holiday homes, short-term. There are too many companies over here that can do that. It's regulated. And you will get sometimes spikes of income. And over the end, what I hear, I've not done that before, but what I hear from people, that it is slightly higher than your long-term rental, but it can cause headache as well. Okay, so you want to have that thrill, you do that. Otherwise, second year, you can come back and say, hey, you know what? I don't want that short term. I want this also stable. So now you have two stable income coming. One, you're not paying rent. And you've automatically created second revenue, stream of revenue for you. After your allocation to equity, the dividends that you get, you can reinvest that or spend that. That's again revenue. Okay. Your salary is a revenue. So now by creating investments,
multiple avenues of revenue, you technically slowly your journey to financial freedom is advancing.
Correct.
I mean, the idea is that how do we reach to that financial freedom so that, the burden of earning and hunting every day and eating starts dropping down, and, eventually you find a peace of mind and a secure future. I always believe that every woman should have an investment account.
Absolutely.
And one is because the first important is because, women live longer than men. The second part is that, in case of any unfortunate event, if they get into a divorce, then they're not left alone. They have a corpus for themselves. And they have kids to take care, so they have money left. Thirdly, because even women's, what happen is that their career cycles are shorter than men because they go under delivery and then, they take career gaps. So, and fourthly, they don't have to be pegged onto a man for their future. And therefore, because many times, I meet so many of women and they're always pegged onto a man.
Correct.
Just because of their, financial incapabilities. And I feel that women should first open an investment account immediately, whether their husband gives or no. Do you agree this point?
I totally agree with you. I think
because I read this book, because this book explains about that is smart women finish rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We all know how that happens, right? Your mom saving up for your sister's wedding. My grandmother saving up for her daughter's wedding, which is my aunt's. And it's the ladies who saved it, right?
Yeah.
Because men, I think, though they are doing their stuff, but they are so in the regular scheme of things, they are consumed by the work. Okay. And they feel, yeah, I'm winning the bread for the day. But what about the rainy days? Right? And I think we learn a lot. Women are so strong personalities. Okay. Though I learn a lot from them. We do have the man in us, but I think adding on learnings from our women, I think it is fantastic. Whether it's your mom, whether it's your sister, your grandmother, your colleague, your friend, your wife, anyone, because they come with the sense of nurturing, women by nature, and we come from the sense of winning.
And also they have a bigger responsibility in terms of, being attached to the family.
Yeah.
Because the kids are there with them and therefore I feel that they should open the investment account immediately and they should automate their investment discipline so that at any point of time it's in their name and it's with them and they have access to that account. And I think they should learn about these investment habits more than men, because men somehow will learn it through their work life. But at least women, if they are at home, they should be able to pick up these traits. And therefore, this episode becomes so important, and your advices for a woman who's sitting at home and, she can pick up these traits and start their investment account. But what do you think about it?
I've seen women who start investing, and I know them personally as well. They've actually gone out to become very, very successful entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Okay. Because they've learned how to invest and manage money, and they have then been so good at their business. Okay. And it's amazing how they have evolved, because I used to do a community masterclass on finance and investing for women only.
Okay.
And the questions they would ask would be, do I require my husband to sign alongside with me? And the ones who are not married also, if I may, they say that, but I'm going to get married very soon and go away. Do I still need to do this? So there were a lot of notions 10 years ago, which have been debunked today, that with this phone that we hold in our hands is so powerful that you can quickly open up an app, register yourself and start investing, start saving, start knowing, how we know something about what I've learned from women in my life. They would always look for deals, coupons, and other things. And they'd say, hey, you know what? I got this cheaper over there. We'll go there and buy this. And I have a coupon of that restaurant. We'll go and use that. In the beginning, I'm talking about good 18, 20 years ago. I would feel, why are we saving this 10, 20 rupees or dirhams or anything? And then I realized very quickly when I got married that all these things matter. And this I picked up from my mom.
Small savings
Small.
really matter.
And the habit became not to negotiate, but to put in that extra 1 minute to figure out, if I want to have a pizza, okay, should I go to branch A or branch B or brand A to brand B? That's it. If I like something, should I wait for the Wednesday offers, or should I go in impulse and say, I want to eat it right now, I'll have it right now? Can I control my craving? And this actually led me on to one more thing, which was, when I go out and buy today anything that's expensive, I wait 5 days. Because usually these thoughts come in on the weekend. Hey, I need to buy this amazing looking watch, or
It's very trending.
Very trending. I need to, and it's not needed.
Yeah.
It's just want.
Yeah. Somehow you will find that want.
Yeah. And then I would say, okay, I'll put it in my cart, okay, online. Or I'll say I'll go to the mall and I'll buy it in store. And if in 2 days I'm still thinking about it, I will go and buy. But if in 2 days I've forgotten and moved on with my life, I'll say, okay, thank God. Okay. So this I learned from women in my life. Okay. They'll always, the delayed gratification.
I'll explain you this. So my grandmother, in Goa, we had these, they had these pouch and these women's, and my grandmother had this, and she used to put it in a sari. And whenever we used to go to the market, the first point that she'll not remove the pouch first. That's first. First is, what's the price?
Yeah.
What's the value that is coming? And is it making sense? Then she starts with the second steps of negotiating with him. And then she'll make him she will negotiate to that level. And only once it's in her budget, she will remove that pouch and she will pay it.
Correct.
If not, she will walk to the next shop. It was a very simple policy, but and she was loaded with cash. I remember when she died, and we had actually opened some of her briefcases, and everywhere money was there. And she had this, inherent very saving habit. I don't know how she learned it, but really, and maybe that's gone to my mom, and my mom has transferred to me. Somewhere I feel that those habits are somewhere we have lost with this so much of noise around us.
Correct.
And that's where the need of this episode was, to bring that habit back, automate that habit, and keep it in our system, saying that when we earn something, make sure that you first pay yourself in terms of an investment, and then you pay to everyone that accesses you as a part of an expense.
Correct.
Does it make sense?
It does. It's because, when we fly somewhere, there's an announcement in the plane that happens in case the oxygen levels drop. First, you wear mask on yourself and then help others.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't let your house burn down in pursuit of saving others. You first save yourself so you can save many more.
Yeah. And then that's the only way we can achieve financial freedom, Sandeep. I think this episode was a masterclass, I guess. Yeah. So just maybe a few questions, the rapid fire questions. What's the best investment habit?
It cannot be rapid, by the way. The investment habit is show up, invest at a disciplined way, any given time in your life.
Worst money mistakes people make?
Impulsive buying, or not seeing the price seeing the price, not the value, basically.
One asset everyone should own?
Real estate.
One or two?
One.
One thing people waste money on?
I think people waste a lot of money on things that they see on social media channels. A lot of those things that we see is educational as well, is informative, but most of it can be avoidable. So that's why they waste a lot of money. And when in the end, once they get it, it's really waste. You won't use it at all.
One thing people should invest more in?
I think they should invest more in themselves.
In themselves.
Yes,
I think that's what everyone has to invest in themselves. And this self-investment is only something that's going to take you towards what you actually want to achieve in life. And I think, thank you very much, Sandeep. It was an amazing episode. And thank you very much for your, insights and this deep knowledge that you have shared with me and my audience. Thank you once again.
I'll say one thing always: please have a coach. Please have an advisor. Okay, because you don't need this coach or advisor for the rest of your life. But you need this coach and advisor to let you fly on your own and get empowered.
Correct.
Okay. When you go to the gym, you don't need a personal trainer every day unless you're competing. But once you know the basics of how to do what so that you're not, injuring yourself, you need that personal trainer. You can let go of the personal trainer and have, instead of daily sessions, have weekly. From weekly, you'll go for regular quarterly meetups, but have a coach and have a guide and have an advisor.
This helped me to recollect one article of yours. You've written something. What's the term financial checkup? I think, yeah. I think this term associated with you. What's financial checkup?
So every 6 months, you reach out to your wealth coach or wealth advisor, showing him that, hey, you know what? This is where I am. This is where my objective was. Where am I going wrong? Or if I'm accelerating it, what more can I do? So you're constantly learning. You're constantly investing in yourself. Okay. And eventually the conversations that you'll have with your wealth advisor will not be about making money, but will be about how do I give back to the society. Okay.
No, and at the same time, it's also a checkup on what exactly you promised yourself. Is it delivered after 6 months? And are we going to re-promise ourselves for the next 6 months? And last question I just forgot, I just recollected is, do you believe in any investing in crypto? Because I think I have lost certain confidence on it, because after $120,000 I've dropped to $60,000 in Bitcoin is something which I think I would have been deeply in distress if my investment would have dropped to this level. So I really don't know if that is an investable asset. And if it's so, I just want to understand, how do I do that in a very fundamental manner?
So I would again go back to my basics. I will invest in crypto as an asset class, but I will never compare it to a gold or something. Asset class, when I speak about it, if I'm giving weightage to a UAE stock market, 10% weightage, I will not give a 10% weightage in my portfolio to a Bitcoin or crypto in this case.
Yeah. So maybe 1 or 2%.
2-3% is okay, but when will I give that? When I have achieved some sort of bucket or a pool of safety net.
Correct.
Okay, not on the onset, I'll go and, hey, Sandeep told me I should put 3%. Day one, say I put 3%. You wait 1 year out. You learn basics of investment first. And then you know what is the risk appetite. Because everyone has these 5 risk things, right? Your risk appetite, what is it defined by? It's defined by your ability to take risk, your capacity to take risk, your willingness to take risk, your capability to take risk, and your knowledge to take risk. You might be willing to take risk, but you have no money. So it does not work. You would have the money, but you will not be willing to take the risk. So what's the point? You might have the capability, capacity, willingness, but you don't know what risk you're taking, the knowledge of risk. Okay, like crypto. If you don't know about regular stocks, definitely you can't know about crypto. So going back to your point, don't invest in something that you don't know. Okay, so if you know what crypto is, you can put probably all of your money. I don't know enough, so I'll probably allocate not more than 3%.
Once again, thank you very much, Sandeep. It was excellent meeting you, and it was an amazing conversation for me and my guest. And for my viewers, thank you once again.
Peter, it's lovely.
Yeah.
For your users, if they want to follow me, they can follow me on my Instagram handle, Sandeep_investment advisor. If they want to follow me on LinkedIn, they can search for me at Sandeep Jadwani, the best investment advisor in the UAE. And, happy to help.
Thank you, Sandeep. Lovely once again.
Pleasure. Thank you.